taking over. I am, of course, Ol'Ed Ed Fries, your head narcissist, as always. Well, maybe not tonight, because we got Bobby Money Munson joining me, and if there's anybody who might be a bigger narcissist on this channel than I, it's indeed this man who calls himself Money.
Yes. Yeah, well, I mean, it comes from a completely odd story, but, you know, still narcissist.
Yeah. But no, we are here to pay tribute to one of Bobby's favorite professional wrestlers. I've been hearing about this guy for years. I've gotten the pleasure to meet this man. I've had a photo taken with him. I have a wonderful 8x10. We're here to talk about Richard Holliday. Richard Holliday, we're going to give him his flowers. This was his 10-year anniversary show that he put together for himself. Because who better to pay tribute to Richard Holliday than Richard Holliday?
I can't see any better way of doing it. I mean, the title doesn't say it any better. Narcissistic behavior. You have to be quite the narcissist to go and celebrate your own 10-year journey in professional wrestling by putting on your own show based around you. Absolutely love it. And we'll get to his old shtick later and stuff like that. I got some chatting to do on Mr. Holliday later. So
let's also talk about the people surrounding this. So we do have Sam LaTerna on commentary with a rotating cast of characters. I thought it was great. I loved commentary here. This is my first time listening to Sam LaTerna do commentary, in a full basis. I've seen matches, but I've never seen like a full show of Sam LaTerna doing. I thought she was great. I thought she's delightful. She's insightful. She has a good pace to her storytelling. And considering the fact that she wasn't able to get any chemistry because she didn't work with the same person for more than one match at a time, I thought she did a really good job being the glue that held this whole show together from the viewer's point of view.
Yep, I agree with you too. And Sam LaTerna, is somebody that I'm very familiar with as a backstage interviewer over on the MLW side, so got really familiar with her over there. I was very happy to see Richard Holliday bring her in for commentary. I think that she did hold the show together, even when some of her guests, I mean, there was a lot of trying to play up kayfabe sometimes on commentary from some of the wrestlers and stuff like that, to the point where it was like, all right, we get it. You're the bad guy. Understood. Not knocking it. I mean, again, play it up all you want. But I think Sam LaTerna held it together and was able to keep a consistent flow and voice to the show throughout every single match. And I'm glad that she was selected to do this. She did excellent.
Yeah, I thought she did great. Of course, you can't run. I think it's illegal to run a professional wrestling show in the New England area and not at least contact Rich Palladino to be your ring announcer.
Yeah.
I think you're contractually obligated, if you run a show in New England, to at least contact him and ask him if he's available.
Oh, for sure. And he's the best. I mean, hands down, he's the best. Yeah, what he does. And I don't care about just your area. If you're ranking people that are great on the shtick, who hold it together, who, the crowd loves and adores, but he doesn't take anything away from the wrestling that's about to happen throughout the entire night, Rich is definitely in the top creme de la creme when it comes to people who do this.
Yeah, I think Rich is so great because he's a part of the show. He's a character on the show, but he never oversteps anything. He knows exactly what his role in the show is, and the people who make him feel like a bigger deal are the talent in the ring or the crowd ringside. Yeah. And if you're a ring announcer and those are the people that are putting you over, that's how you're supposed to do it. Because I've watched at times where people have made Rich Palladino a part of the show. But if the talent is doing it, then they believe in it. And that's the right way to do it. And in this one, he plays no part in the show other than being the fantastic ring announcer that he is. So we love Rich here. We're trying to get something in the works. We'll bring up that more as we get to it. But this takes place from Hamden, Connecticut. Of course, it takes place in Connecticut. Richard Holliday himself is from New Haven. So obviously it takes place there. By the way, if you haven't already watched the show, you can go ahead and stay in the live chat if you want. If you don't want spoilers, go ahead to Richard Holliday's YouTube channel, which is at Richard_Holliday, or go to his link right up here where he has everything he does, whether it's selling his coffee, whether it's selling his merch, whether it's his YouTube channel, his Instagram, or his Twitter handle at to go ahead and support Richard Holliday in any way, shape, or form. Also, this show is for free on YouTube, but these kinds of shows take a lot of effort and money to put on. Have some sponsors. If you want to go ahead and show Richard your support for how much you enjoyed this show, he's got a Venmo in there that you can go ahead and send him a little bit of money to thank him for putting on this wonderful pro wrestling show free of charge for all of us.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it, and it takes so much to put these things on. It takes a lot of work from the people down at ringside to the people in the back to the people in the ring, and then this was a quick turnaround in terms of having it edited and ready for YouTube. I can attest to how much time and effort this does take, because the editing, once you get used to it after a while, and I'm sure whether it was Holliday doing it or he had a team that he hired to do it, they're used to doing these types of shows so they can have a quick turnaround on it. But I was very, very impressed with how fast from the time of this show wrapping up in a live capacity to it being available on YouTube. Very impressive in that turnaround time.
Yeah, and I believe that those dates are August 2nd is the date of the show because it was SummerSlam Sunday. And it was on YouTube on the 14th, but it probably could have gone a week earlier because he announced that he was putting it on his YouTube almost a week beforehand.
Yeah.
After asking if he should reveal it and where he should put it if he died. And of course, his own personal YouTube channel makes the most sense. So again, with all of these things, we're going to tell you where they come from. We're going to tell you to go support. Normally, it's a company or a promotion. In this case, it is give your flowers to Richard Holliday for his 10-year anniversary.
100%, yeah. And it's funny to think, like, it feels like he's been doing this a lot longer, especially when you see his body of work and what he's capable of doing. And it makes me really realize, because I don't think I ever looked to see how long he had been in the business while I was really invested in his work in MLW. And considering that time frame, to know how young in the business he still was at that very time, to see that much growth in this period of time has been remarkable. Nothing short of spectacular. Richard Holliday, there's a reason he can get away with throwing a show like this and people want to see it, is because he is as good as he says he is, if not better.
And can we also talk about, with talking about how great he was at such a young age, can we also now look back at the dynasty and go, my goodness, these guys knew exactly what they were doing and what they had.
Yeah.
And nothing's changed. MJF is still MJ fucking F from the dynasty. Richard Holliday has had slight tweaks to the character he played in MLW, but he's still Richard Holliday, the Narcissist. And Alexander Hammerstone has been Alexander Hammerstone. No changes except a better body every single time we see him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that man gets bigger by the second.
That's what happens when you're constantly working out and doing shows and everything that Alexander Hammerstone is doing.
Yeah.
But let's get into this show. The opening contest, Ichiban defeats Swipe Right's Brad Baylor.
Oh, poor
Bobby,
Brad.
what you think? What you think of Ichiban here? Because I think we've talked a bit about Brad Baylor on our Evolve reviews. We've talked a bit about when talking about NXT between you and I. What did you think of Ichiban? Because I'm sure Ichiban is relatively new, but not entirely new.
See, I'm familiar with Ichiban, to be honest with you, because he has had a stint in MLW. So we did get an opportunity to see him in the middleweight division over in MLW prior to watching this. So when I heard number one Ichiban, I'm like, okay, Ichiban can be quite exciting, and he's perfect fit for an opening contest like this as well too. Incredibly over with that audience. That audience, it was an odd mix throughout the night. Like, they were so hot into everything, and it felt bigger than what the amount of people looked like on camera. That was the crazy part, is it didn't look as busy as what it felt like when you were just simply sitting back and listening to the audience take this in and know everything about every person that was in this thing too. They love Ichiban, and of course he's exciting. He's that high-flying, fun, energetic guy at the beginning. And Brad Baylor, again, we've said this before, is just that punchable face type heel character, but damn it, can he work? And that's the best part here, is that these two guys worked really well at a very fast pace to really excite this crowd right off the hop. And I've said it many times before on other shows too, your booking of the first match can really set the tone for the entire night. Not every match is going to be super high paced or anything like that, but you need that real energetic match, something that really grabs the attention of the crowd to let them know we're here. This is what we're about. Get ready, because you're in for a great ride. And these two guys, they nailed it with this matchup. I enjoyed this.
I thought this match was way quicker than, like, I went back and I've watched this show 3 times, by the way. Like, I've watched it twice without notes and a third time today with notes. And the show's been out 5 days, so that should tell you how much I've enjoyed this show right off the bat. This match didn't get a ton of time, but it did everything it needed to do. Like you said, this crowd bought in from the moment this show started, and this match was one of the reasons why. Ichiban's back roll front face cutter is one of the coolest things I saw in this entire show.
Yeah.
Like, that is sensational move. I've seen Ichiban here and there. I've seen things he does. He is doing a lot of work up here in the Northeast Indies lately. He's great. I like him. I think he's the perfect type of character to have going over. Brad Baylor, JT was in the chat last week. I asked him at one point when him and Danny were defending against Swipe Right at one of the Chaotic shows. I asked him, day of the show, which one of them has a more punchable face? He responded, Brad Baylor. He thinks Brad has the more punchable face than Ricky as well. I still think it's Ricky Smokes, but that's just me. I love this match. I thought it was everything it needed to be. Ichiban gets the big win. And we just kind of, continue rolling through the show.
Yeah.
We get Rich Palladino saying something's happening in the parking lot. We get Sam Laterna outside, obviously earlier in the day, because there's no way that Richard Holliday is going to be late arriving to the show that he's putting on. But
yeah. And the best part of this is that Palladino says it's like, it makes it sound like it's an emergency. Something critical is happening outside. And they cut to Sam Laterna standing there with a microphone like, oh, look, Richard Holliday just showed up too late to his own show. And him kind of, I was like, you know what? This is so indie. It's perfect. That's the best way I could say it.
Not only was it so indie, it was also so Holliday. Like,
fair,
only Richard Holliday would come set up for his own show, in theory, in kayfabe, leave, and then come back late.
Yeah.
Like, only the great Richard Holliday could pull off something like that. So I adore it. I thought this was great. We also get Anthony Greene in the scene, because Anthony Greene bumps into him. He says, hey, have a good time at catering. Enjoy it. He's like, I didn't book you. It's like, Holliday, you booked this whole fucking show. Of course you booked me. You had Sam announce it on social media. I was waiting for the camera to pan to Sam to be like, yes. We didn't get it, but we do find out that the main event of this show is going to be Richard Holliday taking on the alternative AG Anthony Greene. Love it. I think it's great. I didn't expect a backstage segment during the show, but I'm glad I got one.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It was fun. And when I say it's so indie, it's perfect. It's one of those things where it's like you want to try to give something additional to the audience and everything like that, but we don't have the level of production that the big guys have. So you do your best to film something ahead of time and have it play into the live show. But even at times, like in Rich's defense too, he probably didn't necessarily know what the plan was for that segment. He was just told we have to cut to the to the backstage or cut to outside or something like that. So I mean, in his logic, he, hey, something's going on. We got commotion outside, and the commotion is just the promoter showing up late to his own show, which fantastic. Loved it. Thought it was great. Great way to set up your main event for the night too. And what a main event! Like that's a match we need to see, and we will.
We then have what I call the professional wrestling match of the week. Not because it's a great professional wrestling match, but because it takes 3 different mainstream wrestling promotions and puts one of their competitors each in this match. Okay, 2 mainstream in the NWA. We have EC3 taking on the TNA International Champion Steve Maclin in WWE ID's Aaron Rourke. Bobby, I got to get your thoughts on this before I go ahead and give mine.
This again, like me, not typically a fan of multi-person matches. Yeah, that wasn't so much the case here. These 3 guys had a great matchup between the 3 of them, which can be said. Maclin and EC3 have the experience behind them. Aaron Rourke, I mean, he's on his way up, but what a match to really give him that shine a little bit too. Like, it didn't matter how he came out, as long as he came out of this matchup with having put up a fight, and a fight he put up throughout this entire thing. And he laid it in good with these guys, stood in there. You would almost think, if you were an outsider looking in with no knowledge of any of these 3 guys, that Aaron Rourke was just as experienced on TV and throughout his career as what either Maclin or EC3 are, because that's how polished and well done all 3 of these guys did throughout this entire match. I thought this was probably one of the most exciting matchups on the entire card. And that's saying something, because there was a lot of great wrestling on this card, but this was a standout. And I'm not usually one to go crazy over hearing EC3's name sometimes. I don't know what it is. It's nothing that he's bad at in the ring or anything like that. I'm just not rushing out to see an EC3 match typically, but nothing wrong here. I like that he pulled the whole heel move of backing out of the match at the beginning. Like, no, you guys take care of business. I'm just going to stand here and wait this one out. That's a great way to get interaction in the ring without having to involve somebody being laid out. If somebody gets punched and they lay outside of the ring for 5 minutes, we avoid that by having your heel stand outside the ring, generating heat while the other 2 guys get the work done in the ring for a while. Fantastic by all accounts on this one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match, mostly because I really enjoyed the work of Aaron. I loved how halfway through this match, EC3 decided to finally start actually trying. Like, EC3 almost feels like his energy level is like half the entire first half of this match. Like, he comes out, feels like he's at half energy. He wrestles the beginning of this match and he's like half energy. And then all of a sudden, there's a moment where Aaron Rourke, I think it's when Aaron Rourke blows him the kiss, and all of a sudden, EC3 just kicks it into high gear. And again, like you said, EC3 doesn't do a damn thing wrong.
No.
And he's so good at, and like I said, his moveset in this match was great. Like, his work with Maclin, even when he was kind of giving it like a character version of half energy, was so really good. And I really enjoyed everything that EC3 did here. Steve Maclin, it was so nice to see him getting this, a spotlight almost to say, I don't watch enough TNA to see Steve Maclin on a constant basis, but I remember there was a time where they were pushing him and he was getting close to that world championship. And I'm like, there's something to Steve Maclin. Watching him again here, it's like, yeah, damn, people, somebody needs to figure out what it is that he can do and do it, because he's so good. And then, like you said, there's Aaron Rourke. He's literally the young boy in this match, but watching it, you never would have known. No. The character work from all 3 of them, the 2 baby faces being willing to fight each other, but also being willing to play off of each other. Aaron Rourke's evil gay character does such a good job with a big lunkhead like EC3 too. Especially with the overman gimmick that EC3 is doing as part of the NWA right now. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, he's over man, because he's the over man. It's such a good heel douchebag character, and EC3, if nothing else, we know from his time in TNA, can be the ultimate douchebag.
Also love the I love the mansplaining that has to go behind it as well too, like the backing it up, so just a little mansplaining from EC3 on why he's over.
But again, it because when you have to have Rich Palladino explain the 2 lines of your introduction, it just makes it that much better.
Oh yeah.
It's so good. I thought this match was great. It wasn't one of my higher ranked matches when I ranked these matches on this show, but it's only because of the fact that there were some things on here that I thought were really sensational, and this thing was just really solid. Yeah. But no, I think that they pulled off the triple threat thing in a very interesting and different way, and they made the one guy not in the ring work so much better with EC3 playing the heel who would constantly just leave the ring.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way. They made the 2 guys fighting in the ring make sense because of the fact that they were utilizing EC3 as a character aspect, and that made the triple threat work that much. Again, sometimes just do the simple thing. Keep it simple, stupid. And they did. They kept this simple, and it was so good. I really love this match. I thought it was really great. But we can't talk about things I love without talking about this next match. More specifically, without talking about these 2 guys. I had not seen Sent to Slaughter before in my life. I know who Dan Moff is. I think anybody who's watched Ring of Honor has known who Dan Moff is, because, as Samuel Turner tells us, these 2 gentlemen have nearly 50 years of wrestling experience between the 2 of them.
It's a lot of damn years.
It's a tag team. It's 2 dudes. And they've got nearly 50 years of experience between the 2 of them. Yeah. These 2, they may not be tall, but they are brick shit houses. Both of them.
They're as thick as they are tall. That's for sure.
They really were. And of course, who draws Sent to Slaughter? But the heels from our last episode, the Miracle Generation. One of a few names that we are going to hear talk about this show that we talked about last taking over. I thought Miracle Generation and Sent to Slaughter put on an absolute tag team clinic here. Sent to Slaughter did the perfect heel, big power guy thing. And by the way, they don't just do the standard here power guy thing. They do it to just like a little bit of an uplifted degree. Like, there's a power bomb that Dan Moff gives to Dustin Flash Waller that I thought he might have legitimately broke Flash's neck. Like, he just planted that bastard into the mat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good God. No, I thought Miracle Generation working as baby faces is where they need to be. They worked as heels on the Chaotic Show, and I think that they did a great job at it. And I was like, oh, they're heels. I didn't know that. No, they're baby faces, and this is what Miracle Generation is supposed to be. They are sensational. I adore them. And they win this match somehow, some way, after hitting Power and Glory, which, if Papa Smokes were here with us, how much would he have enjoyed hearing the words Power and Glory and hearing the name Paul Roma? Not once. We'll get to him later in the show, too.
Yep.
Power and Glory, because, of course, for those that don't know, and I love Samuel Turner for this, we constantly found out where people were trained during this show. PAWA is apparently a promotion that's linked to Paul Roma in the training that he did, where his first trainee was Richard Holliday. One of his newer trainees is the Miracle Generation. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really cool that they did Power and Glory on a night showcasing Richard Holliday, that we got to also see Power and Glory as a finish one more time.
Yeah, this was great because when I when I look at the list of matches, if I was just looking at a list of matches from the start, I'd go start putting tick marks beside most of these because there's people I know involved that I'm really interested in seeing. And then I get to this one, and I would probably draw a circle around it with a couple of question marks and go, who? Why? What? And you know what? My foot's in my mouth because this ended up being incredible to say, like, and that's, yeah, this, there's no other words. Incredible. This match throughout, this was great tag team wrestling from two teams that I'm hardly familiar with at all, heard of in passing, but have not taken the time to really sit down and watch. Miracle Generation. Oh my God. Are they ever going places? Like, seriously going places. Again, like, this is, you know, this was the old meets the new. It's that type of storyline, but great tag team action throughout. And damn, I was invested all throughout this thing. Even when they started entering, I'm like, should I be interested in this? I'm like, yeah, you know what? Hopefully they'll change my mind. And moments later, I'm like, well, this is already standing out as the best thing on the card so far.
It didn't stand out for very long, I don't think, for either one of us, because unfortunately for them, their reign of match of the night ended real quick when our next match, which was the last match before intermission, was Hammerstone versus Bear Bronson.
Oh my God.
We can't do talking about this match justice. I happened to see this in preparation for this show, and a friend of mine, I call her a friend of mine, somebody I follow fairly standard on the internets, Tiffany, the Queen of the Indies. She does an Indie Corner where she goes ahead and interviews people. Leading into the show, she got the chance to interview Richard Holliday. Her things are going to be in the description below, but I believe Bobby has already posted them in the live chat here. Special thanks to her. We did ask for permission and get her permission to go ahead and show this. This is a clip. It's about a minute and a half, and this is her asking Richard Holliday about putting this match together. We're just going to let Holliday do it because there's no better person to talk to about this match than Richard Holliday.
We got no audio, Ed.
Sorry, I forgot I can't mute my microphone. And now my internet's died. Give me a second. I'm on Twitter.
Yeah, it's still not coming through. Yeah, I'm not sure why. It's still not playing the audio.
Oh, it's not playing the audio still?
No, I think, do you have the audio on?
Yeah. I heard it in my headphones just fine. All right, I guess I'm going to unfortunately have to do this. Actually, you know what? We're going to try one more thing. Hold on. That's a shame. I'm going to have to actually paraphrase for Richard Holliday. So, in the beginning of this, he talks about when this match goes out, he's going to tell everybody, he's going to stop what he's doing. He's going to tell everybody to just leave him alone for a bit. And he is going to go ahead and enjoy this match. He booked this match because when he started putting together the card for Narcissistic Behavior, the only match he had lined up in his head ahead of time was Hammerstone versus Bear Bronson. He talks about how we all know how good of friends him and Hammerstone are. There's no denying that. He says the one thing people might not know is how close him and Bear Bronson are. But they are very close in this wrestling community, and that when Bear was still with AEW / Ring of Honor, and before this resurgence that he's had, he told Bear that that he had good times coming, that there was an uptick coming for him, and that there were big things happening. He says that this match was going to outdo anybody's expectations, and it already had the highest of expectations because this is the only match in the card that Richard Holliday wanted to stop and watch for himself. So again, the full interview from Tiffany with Richard Holliday is on her YouTube channel, Queen of the Indies Corner on YouTube. Her link tree is linktr.ee/Queen of the Indies Corner. She has fantastic content. She just had an episode today, an interview with Nat Castle, who just had the first women's dog collar match in CAP history at Creative Pro Wrestling. So, great interview there that she just did this afternoon as we're doing this live. So make sure you go ahead and give her a follow. Go ahead and watch her content. If you like the indies, you're going to want to watch this because she goes ahead and interviews people from the independents, especially in the New England area. Bobby, Hammerstone versus Bear Bronson. Other than match of the night, is there anything else you can say about this?
Well, first of all, every single time, it's like I hear Hammerstone put into a match, and I'm like, fantastic. I love Hammerstone. Bear Bronson, I've been seeing a little bit more lately, and I'm like, damn, I like this guy too. Big old brute, but he can move. He can work. And they put this match together, and I'm like, all right, here we go. But I often forget just how damn good these guys are until they get in there. I don't know what it is. I know they're really good. And then they go into this thing, and I'm like, all right, let's get this on. And then they go, and I'm like, God damn it. You're just like, you're up in it, even more than my expectation level going into this thing. It's that good. Like, they brutalize each other throughout this matchup. It's just this. There's a reason Richard Holliday wanted to book this matchup, because he knew exactly how amazing this would turn out to be. Not only match of the night level, but argument when you're looking at an independent level for a match of the year type contention when it comes to this match. This was 5 stars, no doubt about it. Match of the night, awesome. This should have people talking more than it currently does. Anybody who doesn't even want to sit down and watch an entire program, go at least watch this matchup, because holy hell, are you in for a ride. This was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I think people see Hammerstone as the big muscle guy and forget everything else he can do. He's technically sound. He can fly. Like, he can do more than just the power stuff. He is so good technically in the ring with all of his spots, feeling like they hit exactly where he wants them to hit every single time. Bear landed on his head more than once or twice in this match.
Oh, did he ever?
Like, there were spots where I was like, oh, good God. Like, there's a spot where Rich reaches his hand out and makes sure that Bear can squeeze his finger to check on Bear when he takes a tumble to the outside at one point. The superplex off the top rope. I thought they were going to break the ring.
Yeah. Well,
like, I know they're not the guys who do it in WWE. Like, I know they're not that big. But, like, these are some big boys, and they're stiff. This is, as Biggie would say, these are 2 meaty men slapping meat.
Well, and didn't they say on commentary as well, too, that the ring shifted a little bit? And for those who don't know, this is entirely a thing that can happen at an indie show especially, and does all the time. Rings shift when big boys do big boy moves, especially off the top ropes, and that was big boys doing big boy moves off the top ropes.
If you don't know who Bear Bronson is, you need to watch this match and find out. Because Bear Bronson is a star. I don't even want to say a star in the making. He's already a star. People just haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
He's doing work. Like I said, he's just recently been, his contract wasn't renewed with AEW Ring of Honor, but he was there. He's doing work all over the New England Indies. He's part of GCW at this point as well. He's wrestling with his wife, Gabby Forza. They're doing tag team work. They wrestle a ton up here as a tag team. Bear Bronson is if nothing else, a name that you need to watch going forward after the show is Bear Bronson, because this guy has it all. He can cut a promo. He looks great. He has a cool entrance gear. He feels like a big deal. He wrestles well. He connects with the... Like, at one point, he had 2 little girls help him up as he's getting counted out. The referee's at 8. And Bear's like, I'm still going to make sure I pay attention to the 2 little girls at ringside who are going to help lift me up so that I can get back in this match.
Oh, like, it was wonderful.
He's so fucking good. I adore Bear Bronson. He deserves almost as many flowers for this night as Richard Holliday. Normally, I'd say he deserves more because I hate to give Richard Holliday his flowers all the time because he demands them every night with his T-shirt that says, "Give me my flowers." But for this one night, he gets just less flowers than Richard Holliday. But my God, this was my match of the night. By far and away, these 2 are fucking warriors. And I loved every minute of this match.
See, and we know the level that Hammerstone's at already. The thing with Bear Bronson, like for you and I, we're very familiar with where he's at and everything. But in this, even taking a loss to Hammerstone, and of course, it took a lot of finishes and especially hitting that Nightmare Pendulum, which, damn, man, it's impressive when Hammer gets a big boy up for the Nightmare Pendulum and hits that thing properly. This still solidified Bear as a bona fide star because he went to war with Hammerstone here, and he did not look like a chump throughout this thing. No, they fed each other back and forth, and they, like you said, warriors. That's what they were. They're both warriors, and they come out of this thing, both of them, looking like $1 million.
And by the way, after this match, as soon as this match is over and, Hammer's done a couple poses, he helps lift Bear Bronson up. And Bear comes up expecting a fight. Both hands up, ready to punch. He's like, no, this is respect. Hammerstone shakes his hand. He raises his hand. And then Hammerstone leaves, letting Bear get the adulation of the crowd.
Yep.
It's such respect from these 2 guys. And that's how we go into intermission for this show. When we come back, we get a 5-way scramble match, which I instantly went, oh God, Bobby's going to hate this. And then the first contestant came out, and I go, never mind, Bobby's in heaven. Because then Nathan Black graced us with his presence. I have never heard of Nathan Black before. I haven't heard of Nathan Black since. But let me tell you, I'm going to find out a hell of a lot more about this man because, God, is he entertaining.
Oh, for sure is he ever. And a standout here. Again, when you've got 5 people in a match or any kind of scramble matchup, it's hard for anyone to necessarily stand out exactly, but he stood out. And he stood out because they gave him a microphone, and he got to do that old school coming down to the ring, talking smack, got a kind of ordeal. Like, he was the guy that got to say his shtick, and damn it, was it fun. Like, it was so irritating and so perfect at the same time. You're like, man, I want you to lose, but I also want to see more of you at the same time.
Oh God, I just want to see this guy get beat up every week. I could. If he's on all of our shows getting beat up every show, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
The other people in this match, for me, it's the first time seeing her back in action. Davey Ann. Davey Ann is a former chaotic. Not only is she a former chaotic women's champion, Davey Ann is the first and only woman to hold the chaotic championship. End of sentence. She defeated JT Dunn. She's actually a 2-time chaotic heavyweight champion, defeating JT Dunn both times, ironically, during the height of the unit. She was one of the biggest people to go up against him. She is sensational. She's just coming back within the last 6 months after some injuries. She's in the best shape of her career. She looked fantastic in this match. We actually get to listen to her in the next match as she goes ahead and gets to jump on commentary. We also have Pogo Milo Mira working as a babyface.
Yeah.
So for me and Bobby, this is fun because I've seen hours of Milo Mira working as a heel. Bobby's seen plenty of matches of Milo working as a heel. It was really fun watching him get to work as a babyface.
Yeah. Which, I mean, essentially is kind of where he's going at this point anyway. Because, I mean, when you've got a pogo stick and you do the kind of stuff he does, you're going to get a pop, which leads to babyface runs. And we know the story going on over in Chaotic, so it's clear the direction he's going. So this was a perfect spot for him to be working a babyface too.
We also had the Silver Bullet, who I'm sure you're familiar with his work in MLW. I'm almost certain. TJ Crawford.
Yes.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was. Now I know you're not thrilled with how you had to see him in MLW, because if I remember correctly, TJ Crawford worked in MLW as a tag team partner to Love Doug.
Something along those lines. I try to put that era of MLW out of my mind a little bit. No offense to TJ Crawford. I mean, again, like him coming out here, he looks fine. Like he's probably somebody I could watch a little bit more of. He was one of the ones I found on commentary too earlier in the night that was really trying to heel it up. Like he really had to play the heel, and Sam had to kind of bring him back to reality of, we're calling it an indie match, bro, kind of thing.
He was the guest commentator, if I remember correctly, for Miracle Generation Sent to Slaughter, correct? No, it was the Maclin match. It was the Maclin match
because he kept saying he wants the title shot against He
wants to wrestle Steve Maclin. Yes, that's the one. Yeah. And then of course somebody who I'm familiar with via TikTok and Instagram, but wasn't familiar with his in-ring work, and who had a very busy weekend, Big Trouble Bishop. Big Ben Bishop is, I believe they said he's 6'10". Like I also think I heard Sam say that he was 6'12", which I thought was interesting, and that just makes him 7 foot. For those that don't know, like I said, this show was done live on August 2nd, which was SummerSlam Night 2. Well, Day 2, because this was done before SummerSlam Night 2. Ben Bishop is in the weekend in New York at the WWE tryouts. And he was a standout of those WWE tryouts. And I remember WWE tweeting about pictures of Ben Bishop coming out of that, out of this weekend. He did the least in this match, but then again, like I said, he had a busy weekend. You've been there for training days at PPW. You've seen how hard just ordinary training days can be, like tryout days, training days, things like that. Can you imagine what that looks like on the big stage on a pay-per-view PLE weekend for WWE as they're looking for their new future stars? And how much work he had to put in the last 2 days ahead of time before coming to the show.
Well, they're not going to mess around because, again, like I don't know exactly what their full training regimen is, but they want to know that you're not only athletic, but that you're ring athletic, I guess is the way to put it, or kind of, I mean, you need to have a certain level of fitness. You know, a lot of people see bigger people in wrestling like, well, that guy's not fit. Well, I'll tell you what, most of those big guys could run circles around you around a ring and not tire out. And it's, you know, getting gassed is a big thing in pro wrestling, and they need to make sure they don't. So a lot of it comes down to cardio training. The cardio training is heavy, but then you top that with bumping, and bumping a lot. And when I say bumping a lot, you watch a typical wrestling match and you'll see people bump back and forth 50 to 100 times in a standard matchup pretty easily. I'm talking, you're doing this constant. It's bump after bump after bump, a rotation of them. And then you switch it up. It'll be flip bumps and different variations of the bump. And then you're back to cardio. And then you're back in. And you could be running the ropes. You could be doing this, that, and the other thing. A lot of it is just go, 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 go. So for him to take in that level of stuff, and I would imagine even then they would probably have him do some in-ring work as well too, some sparring type matches. So topple that on his weekend and then coming and doing this as well too. Boy was tired. I guarantee he was tired.
The thing I loved about this match is it was the perfect match to get you back from the intermission, because you had Nathan starting this match pre-match, making fun of the crowd, telling everybody it's time to come back. And then you have this really great match. And again, this is the match that I love the least on this card. But at the same time, I think that some of the people in this match are the people that I'm going to be looking forward to watching the most coming out of it. I need to see more of Nathan Black. He's fantastic. I love Davey Ann's work. We've talked about how much I like Myla Mirror in the GGC. I think TJ Crawford is one of the most underrated independent wrestlers in the area. I think he gets not nearly the kind of love that I think he deserves, because I think he's one of the most talented, like, just move-based wrestlers that I watch when I watch some of these indie matches. And then Big Ben Bishop is just sensational. He reminds me of Kevin Nash. He reminds me of Dijak. Like a combination. Like, he has the ability to move like Dijak, but he also has that big guy style mentality that Kevin Nash had and loved back in the 90s. And I'm talking Diesel Kevin Nash, not TNA and NWO. I'm talking like really getting his work in Diesel 90s Kevin Nash, the best of the best. I love this match. I love that Ben gets the win with the sit-out chokeslam. Guys like him doing that sit-out chokeslam, that's a Dijak thing. So it looks so much better than just an Undertaker straight up, straight down. The sit-out to it, like, it just makes it that much more impactful. And knowing that Nathan Black's the one who takes it and takes the fall just makes it all the better. I think this match is great. It was the perfect, not everybody's back yet match. So let's let everybody kind of filter back to where we need to be. This is our intermission comeback match, because we got two more and these things are big deals, so we can't put those on after the intermission right away.
Yeah, you're right. The placement of it is perfect because, again, it's high energy. It brings people back into it, gives them a chance to sit in. You're right. Like Nathan on the shtick, talking smack and everything. People are grabbing their drinks and they're coming back like, who is this SOB? We need to find out. Do we need to watch him get punched in the face? And, you have a moment where, Big Ben Bishop picks up the victory. It looks great. Again, not my favorite match on the card by any means, but I'm not going to crap on it because it's exactly where it needed to be. It got some people out on the card that needed to be seen and should be seen, and it did its job. It's not an A+ match, but it didn't need to be at the same time. No,
it does exactly what it needed to do on the card where it was. And like I said, it doesn't, just because it's on an A+ match doesn't mean that the people in this match didn't give it their A+ effort. And come out of this looking great. Like, everybody got their opportunity. Everybody got their shine. And at the end of the day, it came out exactly what it needed to do.
Yeah.
We have our own, speaking of Davey Ann, we have a women's match now. It's our only singles women's match. And we have AEW's The Virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo taking on one of Bobby's other favorites, Becca.
No, sorry, B3CCA. Get that right.
Becca. Becca also comes out with the B3 boys. Now, I will say I loved Alyssa. I loved commentary not being able to figure out for the life of them what their names are.
Not at all. The entire time just stumbling over it and just rolling with that. Sam
and Davian must have given 5 different versions of who these guys are. Yeah. Just for clarity's sake, the B3 boys are the shooter boys from CAP, Creative Pro Wrestling Academy. They are Anthony Vecchio, who plays Bear, and Aaron Ortiz, who plays Bam Bam. But Sam and Davian, for the life of them, were calling them Baron and Banthony because they kept forgetting that it's not Aaron and Anthony.
Yep.
And it was the best. Like, if you're just gonna forget who they are and what they do, just going in like this and just going hard in on it and being at the end of the day being like, who cares? is just what you need to do. Because, mind you, they put them over the entire match. Like, even though they're botching their names, you go, oh, they're burying them. No, they're talking about how it's an unfair thing to Deonna Purrazzo that these guys are out here, how talented these guys are in terms of they can do anything they want to do, and they're hanging around with Becca because this is how you get it further in the wrestling business. You find somebody who's popular, you find somebody who's a big name, and you follow them. Hey, we got Eric in the chat. No, Bobby has replaced Ashley for one night only. Now, mind you, I also replaced a former host of Taking Over for one night only, and I never left. So we'll see what happens there.
Not happening.
But no, Astrid has a book event tonight that she was very interested in going to. So we went ahead and Rourke and Bobby decided to change course and have a little bit of narcissistic chat tonight. So we were talking about Richard Holliday's narcissistic behavior. But Bobby, you love Becca more than I think most anybody. Talk to us here about Becca versus Deonna Purrazzo.
I'm pretty sure the only one who likes Becca more than I do is Becca herself. But yes, this, as always, fantastic. I both these ladies, fantastic, by the way. I think people, there we go. I think some people forget too, if they aren't, well, whether they're familiar with Becca or not, I'm not sure, but sometimes you forget just how good she can be in the ring. Becca is very sharp inside of a professional wrestling ring, and that was very much on display here. I think the gimmick with Becca, I find to be so ridiculous that it's fun, and I like it. And she has music videos to back up these great songs that she goes down with, and man, were they shredding her in the audience while she was singing her song as well, to her diss track towards Deonna.
They were brutal. There was one guy, I don't know where he was sitting, but I guarantee you he's sitting right next to a section where there's a microphone, because you could hear him clear as day, and he's like, go home, we don't want you. And he's not talking about her wrestling. He's talking about her singing.
Yep.
Because, mind you, you didn't hear him once when she's in the, you didn't hear him ragging on her once the match starts. The only time you heard him ragging on her was during the musical portion in the beginning. And the only thing I'm sad about is the diss track really doesn't come through on audio via the show the way it would have come off in the ring. However, if you do want this, it is available on Becca's YouTube channel. It is available on all of your favorite streaming platforms for where you can find podcasts and music, Spotify, Apple Music, all of those wonderful things. It's all over the place. It is a diss track called Master of None, because Deonna Purrazzo is the virtuoso. So she's the master of everything. So Becca dissed her by calling her the master of none. I was that is great. You forget, because of sometimes her booking in all of these companies, especially since she left TNA or towards the end of her TNA run, you forget how damn good Deonna Purrazzo is in the ring. Deonna Purrazzo is one of the greatest women's wrestlers of this generation. And people forget it because of the fact that she's been in TNA for so long. And now she's in AEW, but she's not at that tip top. She's not at the time as Toni Storm or Mercedes Moné or a Mariah May or a Britt Baker DMD level of push. And again, that's it. I'm not here nor there on the pushing of her. I'm just saying she's there and she can hang with all of those people.
Oh yeah.
And probably outdo some of them. But at the same time, you kind of forget that she's signed to AEW sometimes because of that fact. I know her the most because I see constant commercials of her, because she's a graduate of Southern New Hampshire college out here. There's a college out here where you can take classes online, and she's one of their prize students, where she's getting her master's degree through this university. So I see her on all of their marketing. She's in all of these commercials because of the fact that she's a prominent graduate. I love this match. Becca is so good at drawing heat with her music, and then she does everything she needs to do in the ring. And she's such a good quality. I just don't know if the Becca character would ever be able to translate to a main roster professional television wrestling company the way it needs to.
And that's where I say you're probably right. And the only thing I can back that up with is she proves time and time again how committed she is to the craft. So with the right signing and the right people behind her saying, what else do you have? I think Becca can draw that heat without the music gimmick, but at the same time, it's such an indie gem that I don't want it to end either. And back to Deonna as well, too. I would put Deonna at the top of just about any lists in terms of in-ring ability. I think that Deonna is a missed opportunity right now by AEW. And that's not me.
No. Don't even see. But here's the thing: we can't single out AEW as a missed opportunity because WWE had her signed to NXT with Chelsea Green as a tag team, and they botched that. She then went to TNA, where she was the figurehead with Jordan Grace for a while with that Knockouts Women division, and then they left her for dead there too. This isn't even like this. I know I like to take shots at AEW here and there. Every single television wrestling company has botched Deonna Purrazzo at some point at this point.
Yeah, and my comment wasn't necessarily going to be directly just aimed at AEW, but more so, I figured that they were the ones that were going to finally get it right. Is probably the best way to put it. I thought with their women's division in need of that injection of more great top talents in it, I thought that's the perfect signing. I thought fantastic, good for them for getting her, and it just hasn't amalgamated to what I think I thought it would. Once again, same old story with Deonna. But then you get to see matches like this, and it's like, damn, Deonna is that damn good, and Becca hangs with her very well in this matchup. It's like some part of you wants to say this was one of the best matches of the night, but that's tough because so many damn good matches on this card. But it's right up there with them. It stands with the best of the best. This one maybe second or third best, but it's in that range. There's kind of a outside of that Hammerstone and Bear Bronson matchup. I think there's a few that you could make in an argument that are just inching their way towards that top spot on this card.
And the best part is they're all interchangeable. Like if I'm in the mood for a tag team match, it's that Miracle Generation Sent to Slaughter match. If I'm in the mood for a women's match, it's this match. If I'm in the mood for just absolute calamities, it's the main event.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about the main event. We're going to run a little late, but we're going to talk about that main event. But before we get to the main event, we do have Rich Palladino telling us that we have set an indoor attendance record for this building. I love that Richard Holliday is a student of the game. This is, of course, a spoof on. Well, this is WWE. This is taking shots at WWE for how much that they value the attendance of the shows. But more specifically, this is the WrestleMania 3 from the Silverdome thing, where they set an indoor attendance record. They even use the same thing. We're still counting the tickets. They have Rich. But the funny thing is, I know it's not a line from Rich, and I know it's a line he was given, because you see when they cut to the guy who comes out with the headset on who's telling him, you could literally read his lips where he says, "We're still counting the tickets," which I thought was great. Again, this is such good fun because Richard Holliday, since he returned to professional wrestling after the cancer diagnosis, has embraced more than just being the narcissistic Richard Holliday that he was in the beginning of the dynasty. There's a full circle to Richard Holliday post-diagnosis. He's embracing his comedy. He's embracing his charisma. He's embracing being a good guy, being a bad guy, having fans cheering for them while he's telling them that he hates them and that they're all garbage to him. The fact that his song is that you're now breathing his rarefied air, like, and he got cheered over Anthony Greene, the best thing in wrestling. And again, we're getting right to the main event here, but you just can't not give Richard Holliday his flowers throughout this show. It was put on perfection. I thought that it was better than some indie shows. It wasn't chaotic levels of camera work, but it was really good and still better than most indie shows that I watch on some of these places. And again, I seek the camera work because I know you will respect how difficult it is. But even you have to admit, there were some periods of time here where the camera work got a bit shaky and a bit funky on this show. However, I thought this was for a first-time performer, for a first-time promoter, because I believe this is the first show that Richard Holliday's ever promoted. I thought it was sensational. And by the way, Richard Holliday is now asking on Twitter if we want another one. Yes, Richard. God damn it, yes, we want another narcissistic behavior.
Yes,
because I guarantee you, if it's back here in the New England area again, I won't miss the next one.
Yeah. And just to mention on the camera work, and I hope people take an understanding. Hello, STG. It's actually been a lot favorable to everything tonight, so you might need to lay off the emoji a little bit. But like when it comes to the camera work, here's the thing: you can pay people a lot of money to be down there. Sometimes it's through volunteer. Many times it's through volunteering. We get people who have taken classes, like at times too, like they have taken film school, film study, and everything like that. Nothing prepares you for filming live sports or live pro wrestling other than being thrown right into the mix and just doing it. And it is a difficult damn job, especially when you can go and look at what the list of the matches are. You can know the finish to the matches. Some of the wrestlers might pull you aside if you're kind of the lead when it comes to the video production side and tell you, hey, this specific spot, make sure a camera guy is pointed right here because this is going to happen. Or can you do this for me? Kind of, certain things that they'll ask for that you got to keep in mind. One thing they don't prepare you for is when those boys decide to call a spot out of nowhere and they're over the top ropes or, being tossed around right in front of you and stuff like that. And you have one choice, and that's to get the F out of the way, because if you don't, you're getting hurt, kind of thing. So I say kudos to the camera operators. Yeah, it's a little shaky at times, but that's indie wrestling, and that's just how it goes.
Bobby, when doing the camera work for live wrestling, what is more important, making sure the cameras are on the wrestlers or the timing of the spots?
It's a good question. I always tell the guys who are doing it for me, or when I'm doing it myself, keep the camera on the wrestlers as much as possible, unless something's been asked for in particular. So if there's a certain spot that we've been asked to film in a certain way, we will make sure the one camera operator is in position for that particular spot and trying to make it look a little inconspicuous, like we're not setting it up for, oh, look, something's going to happen in that corner because cameraman number 2 randomly walked over and held the camera up and nothing's prepared, kind of thing. So you have to prepare for it. But yeah, mostly I would say keeping it on the wrestlers. Unless one of those wrestlers is doing a blade job, then keep the camera off them.
Well, yeah, you never want to see the blade job. Yeah. No blade job necessary here. We got Anthony Greene, AG, the alternative, the best thing in professional wrestling, taking on the narcissist himself. Give him his flowers, Richard Holliday, in the main event. Yeah. This is the best clusterfuck match I've seen since WrestleMania 40.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'll let you get into the meat of it, but before we do, I just want to mention Richard Holliday's entrance for those who haven't seen it or maybe aren't familiar with what he was doing. It's an homage to his favorite movie, American Psycho. The particular scene is when Patrick Bateman has got a guy over at his place. There's the look right there. And he's having a conversation with them. They've been having drinks, and he goes up to his CD player and he pulls out a CD and he holds it out and he goes, "Do you like Huey Lewis and the News?" And it kind of this whole explanation of Huey Lewis and the News goes from there before he kind of just goes all absolutely chaotic and drives an axe into the guy's head. This was the homage that he was going for. And then the piece that played before he had Hip to Be Squared play as his entrance music is actually directly from the movie, when earlier on Patrick Bateman is kind of explaining himself about how there is no real him, so to speak. So it's a very in-depth movie, and even more in-depth book for anybody who's curious, but a great homage by Richard Holliday here. And, you know, Narcissistic Behavior, that is American Psycho in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, so I say this match is a clusterfuck, but you know what? It was fine because we didn't have this show is so great because everything was so different. He hit the nail on. He had everything he needed to do. He had a little bit of comedy in the scramble match. He had a great tag team match. He had a great women's match with technical women's wrestling. He had multiple great singles matches. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing when he put this show together. And then he knew that he could get away with doing all of this stuff in the main event because none of it had been done all night. We didn't have a DQ all night. So Richard Holliday gets caught doing his signature move and gets disqualified. So he restarts it as a no disqualification match. He then starts using the chair as a weapon, and then we start getting run-ins. We get a run-in from his longtime rival, who I have no idea who this was, Matthias DiNapoli from PAWA, the Paul Roma wrestling, the Paul Roma promotion that's part of all that, where he grew up, where he was trained, where he was the first student of Paul Roma. We had the Shooter Boys, the B3 Boys, Anthony and Aaron were back out here again, helping Richard Holliday, because again, they're trained from the CAP. Richard Holliday has been to CAP an awful lot because it's a Brian Myers, it's a Pat Buck promotion, where those are guys that Richard Holliday would have worked with on the independent scene, especially Brian Myers, and a guy he would have vastly respected in Pat Buck, who's been doing all of this for many, many years, who everybody in the wrestling business, I believe, respects in Pat Buck. Miracle Generation comes out and makes the save for Anthony Greene here to take out the Shooter Boys. We get Tommy Invincible coming out here doing his best John Cena prototype impersonation with the knees as opposed to the running shoulder tackles, and then having his shirt "You Can't Hurt Me" as he does his 5-knuckle shuffle, an attitude adjustment, and an RKO. Tommy Invincible, for those that don't know, is a relatively newer name to the independent scene. He's making a name for himself. He had a very Twitter thing with Richard Holliday going into it. So obviously Richard brought him in specifically for this because, unfortunately, from what we understand from the announcing team, Tommy had a show either before this or after this that he has to get to. So it was a very quick run-in for him. I think he ran in, did this shot, and then literally probably ran to a car to leave because he was in his gear. And then the music of the Four Horsemen popped in. And I'm like, who the fuck would be coming out that's a Four Horsemen? Because I'm like, it's not Rick. It's not Arn. It's not Tully. Like, it's not Lex. It's not Sting. Who the fuck is it? Who else is it? I forgot Paul Roma was a horseman. Now, I don't think it's my fault that I forgot Paul Roma was a horseman, because honestly, other than name redacted, he's the worst horseman that's ever lived. Like, so remember, the horsemen are Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, not Gene. What is Arn's brother's name? The other Anderson who's in the early Horsemen.
Oh God.
The real surly motherfucker. You know who I'm talking about.
I do, and yet I'm drawing a blank on it right now.
Yeah. Then there's Tully Blanchard. There's Sting, Luger, Paul Roma. Then you have the Benoit years, unfortunately named redacted Chris Benoit. But you also have Mongo McMichael in that one. And Mongo was actually really good as a horseman, I'll be honest.
Ole Anderson, sorry.
Oh, how did I forget?
Ole! Like, yeah.
Ole!
Ole! Kicking ourselves for that one.
Yeah, we're going to kick ourselves for that one. Our new logo should just be a picture of Ole Anderson.
Yeah.
With our local establishment on the outside. But no, it's Mongo McMichael. It's Dean Malenko. It's, name redacted. Like, those are the horsemen. And I always forget Roma. I always forget Roma. But being Holliday's trainer, it made perfect sense to have him here.
Yeah.
He looked good too, by the way, Paul Roma. He's a bit on the older side, so he's walking a little slow, but he got up and got down for that count pretty well. Good for him. I'm happy with Paul Roma got in here because, again, while I give him shit for not being a great horseman, he's a Hall of Fame wrestler. Like his wrestling career is Hall of Fame worthy. He's just not. When I think horseman, he's not a name I think of when I think horseman. But I respect the hell out of Paul Roma for the rest of his wrestling career. I mean, again, we talked about Power and Glory earlier.
Yeah, and again, like it's one of those things where it's like he doesn't stand out as one of the horsemen, but it's not that he doesn't stand out for his contributions to professional wrestling and what he's done. And this made perfect sense. I mean, he's the trainer. He can come out. We've had all this kind of like almost like Richard Holliday, this is your life type situation. I like how Richard Holliday continuously changed the rules of the matchup throughout the entire thing to suit it for him throughout this. Like, I mean, when you say cluster, I mean, it's a cluster, but it was a cluster done intentionally with purpose. And it was the only one on the entire card that went like this kind of thing, which is why it works when it's something along this line. And considering the theme of the show, the reason for the show, and all of this kind of stuff, it made sense that this was done the way it is. And to have Paul Roma come out, and then, of course, Richard Holliday, how many times he has to tease his famous finishing move.
No, not finishing. Signature move.
Signature move. My apologies. Signature move.
If you keep messing that up, I'm going to have El Assassino give you Richard Holliday's signature move.
I bet he would absolutely love to do that too. But yes, it was beautifully done. It was not the typical thing. Like, I can't look at this and go, this is a great wrestling match on this card, even though there was great wrestling in it. But the chaos of it kind of takes it into a different category kind of thing. So while it's not Hammerstone and Bronson level of good, this was still a fantastic way to headline this card and pay homage and give flowers to the man who expects them, Richard Holliday. I loved it. I thought this was great.
I bring this up as one of the best since WrestleMania 40. Like, I mean that. Like, because I love the WrestleMania 40 main event of night 2 with, the Avengers assemble and everybody comes out and does all their run-ins at the end of that match where Cody wins the championship. Like, I thought that was fantastic because it fit the story. I think here it perfectly fit where it was like I said earlier, describing it, it's the only thing like this the entire night. There's interference in the women's match, but it made sense. There's interference here because it makes sense. All of this, and again, of course it makes sense. This is Richard Holliday doing this. He's putting this together. Of course all this makes sense. Him and Anthony Greene got to show off how great they are. How they are some of the top independent stars in the business right now. If you have the opportunity to book either of these guys, book them because they are sensational. Anthony Greene's finisher is one of the coolest things. And I don't know how often you get to see that Anthony Greene finisher, but he does an unpretty her, but he does it running and does it off of like the second rope. Like he bounces off the first onto the second, spins it around and hits it as like a a flying unpretty her. It is sensational and it looks fantastic. I love this move. I think AG is one of the most interesting and talented people in all of professional wrestling. And I'm also kind of surprised on a night to honor Richard Holliday, where most promoters who are wrestlers make sure to put themselves over, Richard Holliday went out on his back in this match.
Yeah.
Richard Holliday gave the win to Anthony Greene. Yes, Holliday gets his at the end. By the end of the night, Richard Holliday is the one who gets, he just desserts. He gets the last laugh. But I thought it was sensational. I was entertained. I was sports entertained in this match, where I was wrestling entertained for most of the show. I was indeed sports entertained during this. I thought it was great. I loved all the run-ins because they all made sense to the career of Richard Holliday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if this is a show where Richard Holliday is doing the best of his 10 years, it's nice to have, like, he looks at Matthias and goes, "Who invited you?" Like, obviously Richard did, which is why it's so great that he's so perplexed as to why Matthias is here. Like, that Matthias just heard that there was a show going on. He's like, I have to be here. Like, I loved this show from top to bottom. Again, if you haven't watched it, please go up there. The Linktree is up there for Richard Holliday. You can go ahead there and find all of his wonderful things. You can find him on social media at Most Marketable. You can also go into the chat right here. We have the link there. It's in the description below for those watching on demand. You can also, please make sure that you go watch, even though I wasn't able to play it properly in the chat, please go watch the interview that Tiffany did, Queen of the Indies Corner, where she talked to Richard Holliday about this show and about his career. That's all right here. She's a fantastic friend of the independent wrestling scene. We're hoping to have her on for some of these shows potentially in the near future, because I think that she is great at everything she does. Also wish her a belated happy birthday. She had a birthday earlier this month. As it seems everybody in the professional wrestling space is born at some point in the month of August. We got Auntie Collins today. We had Andre and Mark earlier. We had Tiffany earlier. All kinds of great people are born in the month of August. So go ahead and do that. Bobby, on a scale of 1 to 10, give me a score of narcissistic behavior.
I mean, I'm bad at scaling things because I just like to give flowers to everybody all the time. So I wasn't bored ever once. I enjoyed this entire thing. I'm gonna have to. It's a 10 for me. I would rewatch this quite a few times. 10 out of 10.
In 4 days, I've watched this show 3 times. It's a 10 out of 10. I loved this card. I'm very excited for the next one. Please, Richard, we need more. Remember, even though she's not here, please make sure that you check out Ashley Bizzarro on Twitter and Blue Sky at Ashley Bizzarro, Instagram and Threads at Ashley Bizzarro 20. You can go to her YouTube channel. Make sure that you give it a like, a subscribe. Make sure you hit the notify bell to know when she has content going. We are on her YouTube channel tonight. She will be back with us next week as we go ahead. And I'll give you a couple more minutes while I pull up a thing. But we've got a fun show planned for next week. But Bobby, tell the good people where we can find you.
Well, the ticker down below says it all over the X. It's Real Bobby Munson, Instagram and Threads at Video Bros SK. Twitch, Video Bro _ Bobby Munson, and Blue Sky, BobbyMunson.bsky.social. What I got coming up, you can catch me this Thursday with Papa Smokes. The show's called Ring Respect Radio. It's on at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're exploring the indies as well, too. We do that periodically. And this time we're going to Papa Smokes' neck of the woods, Winnipeg, Canada, for some Winnipeg Pro Wrestling and their show. I still know who you pinned last summer. So find out what went down on that show this Thursday night as we reveal that to you. And then you can join me again this Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, for Point of View. This time, not only joined by Andre, but Lauren Goodnight is going to be joining the fold because we are going to be doing an AEW Forbidden Door preview show on Point of View. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, you can always catch me, Prairie Pro Wrestling, every Saturday, where Papa Spokes and I call all the action on a brand new matchup. We shall have something new coming out for you this coming Saturday. And just this past Saturday, you saw the match between Stephen Crow and Marvelous Morris Waltz that's now available for you to check out.
You can, of course, find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Fries12584, twitch.tv/EdFries2002. No Marvel talk this week. We'll be back in a little bit. We're trying to figure out how we want to cover on DC Talk Peacemaker Season 2. We might do an episode talking about Season 1. We got all kinds of things in the look. We're doing a top 10 episode at some point towards the end of the summer, too. We got all kinds of fun things planned. Because it's not a lot of Marvel coming out for the foreseeable future. We got a bit of a thing, so we're going to be getting back into our MCU rebound episodes as well. But make sure that you catch us every week here on Taking Over as we take over the independent wrestling scene. And what do we got coming up next? Well, we're headed to Dreamwave. We're headed to Dreamwave Wrestling, the hands that they're dealt, where Ed Fries is going to have to watch his second ever Nick Gage match, which Ed is going to thoroughly enjoy. But on this show, we have other wonderful things, including the Dreamwave Alternative Championship with Cody Lane taking on Becca, Christian Rose, and Gage Noonan. We also have Rebecca J. Scott taking on J-Rod, Fallon Gray, Abaddon, and Arisa Demia for the Uprising Alternative Championship match. Donovan Dijak is on this show. Channing Thomas is on this show. Maggie Lee, who we saw on NXT just earlier this evening, will be on this show defending the Women's Championship against Amira. And it looks like our main event is going to be Connor Hopkins taking on Brittany Brooks. Lots of good stuff on this. Ashley wanted something with a little bit more women's presence, so that's why we're going ahead and going to Dreamwave. This show took place the same day as the Richard Holliday show that we just talked about. This is going to be done on IWTV. This is independentwrestling.tv. This is a $10 a month service, but I just want to show off this service. They are not paying me for this. This is all just the Dreamwave catalog that they have for you for $10. But that's not all, because if you go in here, they just added 89 events. That's what that's under the Just Cat. They have 393 promotions, including Chicago Style Wrestling, TWE Chattanooga, Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling,
WXWAC.
Yep, well, it's a different XWXW. I don't think it's that one. ICW's in here. One of the shows that we're going to be covering at some point, Bryn has led us to Action Pro Wrestling. The cool thing about this is they have both live and video on demand that are all part of your subscription. These aren't shows that you have to pay for. So they have a schedule of shows that you can watch that's pretty well full. Almost every night of the week, something's going on. So, it's independent wrestling. So it's very heavily towards the Thursday, Friday, Saturday schedules. But there's a whole bunch of stuff on here. Your $10.99 goes a long way with IWTV. They don't sponsor this. I'm hoping at some point they will. But we're going to be finding a lot of our independent wrestling through YouTube, through places. If there are shows in your neck of the woods that you want us to watch, that you go to, that you think was a great show, leave them in the comment section down below, whether it's in the live chat or whether it's in the comments after the fact. Let us know what places you want us to go. On YouTube, on Twitter, go ahead and message us, send us a DM, or be like, with one of the clips for the shows, go ahead and say, hey, I want to see Taking Over cover this promotion. We're looking into everything and anything. As long as the promotion isn't run by a scumbag, we're going to try to promote it. We're going to try to do some good stuff. Because I love some independent wrestling. Astrid fell in love with independent wrestling after her trip to Canada. And so we're hoping that we can get, a whole bunch of fun where we get to all go to an independent wrestling show together. So that's why I say, come on, we got to do Ol'Ed Day in Boston. so we can do a chaotic show together, because I think that's the one. I think that's the one we got to do. But for myself, for Bobby Munson, thank you for joining us. Give Richard Holliday his flowers. Linktree.com/RichardHolliday. It's already up there. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
I am in misery.